What's up, YouTube? Capital G or DN dual commentary. We have JT or J Threats 08 1125 versus Flaming Ice 1572. I believe this is an OCG match. I know Flaming Ice. I know his history. He plays a lot of OCG. I believe that J Threats went first. Pretty sure, well, I can tell it's an OCG because they've got Joker on the field, and I've never seen this, or at least I know this card is not TCG. This, Guitardo? Guitardo, that's a cute name. This one, I don't think this is this TCG? I feel like that one's not TCG. If there's not a price under it, I'm pretty sure it's not TCG. I don't think I've seen the monkey board. Actually, I think, is this dude Breaker of Shadows? I feel like he's Breaker of Shadows. So anyways, turn one, we saw the Master Paladin of the Ascending Draco Slayer summoned. Is it me or is this can't be the, no, this isn't the Ghost Rare of Dimension of Chaos, is it? But it's in Dimension of Chaos, because it like feels like a Magic Spectre card. Alright, looks like Twin Twister is played. Oh my god, Twin Twister is a quick play? Dude, that card is dumb. That card is fucking stupid. I understand why everybody's playing 3 of it now. Basically, you just discard a spell and you crack a Pendulum Zone. Doesn't have to be face up or anything. And also J Threats played Wavering Eyes. When Flaming Eyes set his first scale up, he played Wavering Eyes and he searched himself, a Draco Slayer or a Lester Pendulum Draco Slayer. And then looks like he Twin Twistered a second Pendulum Scale. This is the problem with Pendulum Scales. If you don't, like, if you crack them, but you don't like fully crack them, you kind of just like, you're feeding the fire. Cause you see, as Flaming Ice is now able to get 4 monsters back, obviously he'll be able to make, Ignister, he'll be able to make another, what's it called? He's got Trick Clown, so, I mean, he's essentially dealing with 5 monsters. Looks like he got noticed. He was put on notice, boys, by Solemn Notice, and, all his monsters be gone. And I've been thinking about Teller Knights here, and I've just been thinking about what the build might be, because there's a couple of decks that I'm thinking about running, and one would be Teller Knights, the other would be potentially Yosenju, but I feel like Yosenju's, I feel like their Cosmo matchup stinks, but I feel like they can handle like Pendulum decks, because they can main deck Anti-Spell Fragrance and lose a turn, and like that's 6 floodgates, that should be enough, and you can side in shit for like Denko and stuff like that. But anyways, so I actually have to read this card. I'm not super familiar with it. For a long time, for some reason, I always associated this with Magic Spectres. But all you need is 2 Pendulums. So like, even if you're not playing Magic Spectres, you can actually summon it. When this card, I feel like it's a really good effect too. When this card is XC summon, you can add a Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase. Okay, without anything else, is already like amazing. Once returned, you can detach XC. Special summon a face-up Draco Slayer Pendulum monster from your extra deck. It better not be able to attack or something. But it can't be used as XC material. Wow, so it can attack. Detach. That card is really good. So he summoned the Joker. Okay. That got him, I got him some Performer Power. I'm not sure if it was Monkey Board, or if it was Lizard Draw. You know what I still find fascinating? This is the only Yu-Gi-Oh series where essentially the main character's deck is like is like profoundly good in the actual competitive game. Because like Elemental Heroes really weren't good. Not the way that like Jaden Yuki played them. Like not those ones. Not until like Hero Beat and shit like that. Is that the, oh man, he's got a Rodney in there. Okay. Man, he's playing all types of I guess it's like the whole damn deck except the Clown Engine is pretty much Pendulum. So he Pendulum summoned, and he activated Lizard's effect. Man, I gotta read some of these. Now, I'm not 100%, like, I'm starting to get very familiar with the TCG version of Performance and Powers, but the OCG version, like, they've got about 5 or 6 more cards that I don't know all of them verbatim. Let's see. If you have my goodness, I can't speak. If you have a Performer Power card in the other Pendulum Zone except itself, let's just say that, you can destroy this card, and if you do draw a card, you can only use the effect once per turn. Fair enough. Okay. Looks like we see a Synchro summon. I think this is about to get spun back to the deck. Trick Clown's a good monster, but it's really not that good if you can get rid of it by spinning it. But anyways, so I'm thinking about maybe Sertaler Knights because Sertaler Knights can run anti-spell fragrance. I'm thinking you have to run like a really minimal spell lineup, like probably Rhoda and maybe just like a couple of star bridges, or excuse me, sky bridges. Like I'm actually starting to come around to that card, which I don't really like it, but I'm starting to feel like it's kind of like worth it to play it now. Just because you can go from like Deneb straight into, or you can go from like Vega into Deneb, which is really good. Basically, it gets you to Deneb and Altier, and that's really all you care about. Alright, so we see mass summonings. Okay, well, excuse me. One of these was summoned, I believe this one was summoned, by Ignister Prominence's effect. Wow, he goes into a second one. Okay, cool. This could be another card, that actually might go up in price. Wait a minute, isn't that right there, isn't that the Magispector, Pegasus? That's the reason I always think of Magispectors when I see this freaking card. It is a freaking Magispector card. Yeah, for some reason I'm like, I always think of Magispectors. It's supposed to be their XC, but other decks can play it. Although other decks don't, like, you know, all the Pendulum decks don't play it. So I guess instead he changes his mind, decides to go into another Ignister. Okay, or no, I think maybe he couldn't have done that XC. Yeah, maybe he may not have been able to do that XC. So decides to go into a second Ignister. And man, he's got so many Draco Slayers on the field, I can't even count, really. I think every monster on his field is a Draco Slayer monster. This guy, this is the same thing, and these two are the same things. Yeah, seriously. Every card on this field is a Draco Slayer, and I guess he's just continuing on with that trend. Now, the thing about it is, even when you get over 8,000 damage on board, you still aren't guaranteed to get LTKs because we know that, obviously, Damage Juggler is a card and it's searchable, so, you know, you can always kind of assume your opponent might have a Damage Juggler. Looks like he's finally ready to activate Ignister's effect, and Flaming Ice is ready to scooper Rooney. Now, we saw Wavering Eyes and Twin Twister in the main deck, so, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else you really can side in this mirror match. I think XC Universe is an option. A little bit of a dangerous one. If you summon the DDD anyways, you just want to like heavy storm the field during your opponent's turn and crack their Pendulum Zone. What else is pretty good? You know, a card that I actually like. I know it doesn't stop everything, but like I just don't understand why a lot more people don't run it. Flying Sea. If your opponent doesn't summon a Draco Slayer, for the most part, most people aren't playing any other tuners other than that one card. Like, other than Luster, Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, like, most people aren't running any other tuners. So if you summon that, they're essentially locked out of Pendulum summoning. Now, it is kind of difficult to play around it because you eventually have to kill that damn thing. If you're playing Sertaler Knights, you can, like, Trevor it to your hand. That's, like, the only deck I can think of that can spin it right back to the hand. That card it's still really good in my opinion, because it's good against Burning Abyss too. And obviously it's good against Performages and Pals, because at least maybe if you stop them from Pendulum summoning for a turn, that's just really good. You can also chain it to, like, Instant Fusion, because you know they're going to go Norden, you know they're going to use this effect, but if they're not getting, like, if they're not able to exceed, Norden just dies and they don't really do anything. Unless, again, they somehow found a way to get, like, a tuner. Alright, so we see Joker summon. Joker gets, Monkey Board. Alright, and the little guitar turtle is played. Okay. Alright, looks like he played the Lizard. This card is definitely in the TCG. I've seen this one many times. Now, I wonder if he's going to use the Lizard's effect, or if he's just going to outright Pendulum summon right here. Okay, I believe he just activated the Lizard's effect. He drew one card. Okay, so he is activating Lizard's effect. I'm like, he drew it, but then he didn't, like, announce it, so I'm like, what's going on here? Okay, so he drew two cards, if I'm not mistaken. It must be this one. If another performer file is activated in your other zone, you can draw. Wow, this card is stupid good. If a performer pile card is activated in your other Pendulum zone, you can draw one card. So essentially you just get to draw two with that combo. That is dumb. That is really, really insane. Wow, I can kind of understand why this deck is tier 0 in the OCG, which it kind of is right now. At least for the last few months. Like, it has been the dominant deck by a very large margin. Even without Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is kind of scary. Okay, so here comes the Pendulum Summon. See, right here, if you threw a Flying Sea out, like, what would he do? He wouldn't be able to do anything. Well, I guess if he pins 4, then you can't really throw it out. But if he would have pinned like 3 or 2, then, you know, you just play that and all his plays are just pretty much null and void. And then maybe you can set up a defensive measure, set a couple cards in your back row, you know, last a couple of turns until somehow he can get that, you know, that Luster Pendulum Draco Slayer on board. Or if they play Effect Veiler, I guess maybe they can maybe get it off the board with like an Effect Veiler, but if their board is full, then, you know, it's not really doing much. All right, so we see a mass summon right here. And, you know, this is why I'm actually thinking about Cyclone being played in the, or excuse me, Cyclone being like at least on par with Mystical Space Typhoon right now. And I'm starting to see Cyclone go up in price. It's so that you stop this. You know what I mean? Because personally, I feel like Max C is like a staple now. Because you're able to stop all this crap. But yeah, it looks like Cyber Dragon Infinity's coming down turn 1, boys. Because I believe he just detached 3. Well, doesn't this detach 2? Am I wrong? Nope, detach 3. Okay. Alright, so there's the Nova. Nova's gonna rank itself up into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Oh no, well, he's gonna get Trick Clown first. Dude, he might, oh my goodness, this is disgusting. I think we might be seeing double Cyber Dragon Infinity. Is it possible? There's another Telemaios. Yeah, I think there's a very legitimate chance we could see like double Cyber Dragon Infinity, depending on what he can equip that, if he happens to equip the, oh yeah, there it is. I was gonna say, if he happens to equip the Telemaios with, you know, like another Tellarknight. And I believe as soon as J-Threat starts his turn, he's probably just gonna detach and make like, he might go to, what's it called? He might go into Pallades. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I'd go into like Cyber Dragon. I'd go in like double Cyber Dragon Infinity. So it looks like J-Threats just scoops, and I don't really know how you play against the double Cyber Dragon Infinity. Plus, there's always the chance of like Solemn Warnings and whatnot, and that's why I think going first is about to become the new going second, because quite frankly, for like the last, I don't know, maybe 6 months or like really since Duelist Alliance came out, I've always thought that going first was like pretty bad. The only exception was Necroz, because Necroz had the gen lock. That was the only reason that I'd ever want to go first in the Necroz matches, to hopefully get a gen lock and just potentially win off of that, or to go like even better, like to go like 101 plus what's it called? To go 101 plus Vanity's Emptiness, because like honestly that play is actually better, because if you get Book of Eclipse, you don't like get wrecked. But anyways, like, outside of that, I don't really think that there was a reason to go first, but now Cyber Dragon Infinity plus Solemn Notice, like, they're just super, super, super stupid stun cards that you can throw on the board consistently with these Pendulum decks turn 1, and, man, it just seems like your opponent just doesn't get to play, Yu-Gi-Oh! At that point. A lot of it has to do with the fact that Solemn Notice is arguably, like, the most powerful trap that they've released in, like, or one of the most powerful traps that they've released in the, you know, like when did Duelist Revolution come out? Like what year was that? That was a 5Ds card, right? So maybe like 2011-ish, somewhere around that. So I mean, close to like the last 5 years, Solemn Notice is like really up there. And then, you know, part of that is Cyber Dragon Infinity is like probably one of the best XCs ever. So when you have all of that combined, this is a lot of shit that can make going first really, really good. And that's why I'm thinking, you know, like Cyclone is really good too. Okay, so puts Monkey Board in the Pendulum Zone. I gotta read the Pendulum Zone effect. Unless you have a Performer Power card in the other Pendulum Zone, this card's Pendulum Zone, or this card's P scale becomes 4. So it is a 1, but it's currently a 4. During your main phase, if this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 or lower Performer Power monster. Can I finish reading? From your deck to your hand, you can only use the effect once per turn. So basically, it's just like a 1-card pendulum scale, because he could just search this and he could just play that. Like, he summoned it, but he didn't have to. He could have just like played this and used it as a pendulum scale. I think it's better for him to just go ahead and summon it, because this dude is like Performer Power. If I'm not mistaken, he's Performer Power Stratos. So, because it says when he's normal summon, you get to add 1 Performer Power. 1 Performer Power, 1 Magician, or 1 Pendulum, one Performer Power monster, one Magician Pendulum monster, or an Odd Eyes monster. So essentially he's like Performer Power Stratos. Alright, so it looks like he's using Lizard's Effect and crack his own scale to draw a card. No biggie there. Then he's gonna play another scale. And that's just what's so dirty about pendulums, is there are so many ones now. Like Ignites, I guess, basically started the trend, but they blow themselves up to essentially either draw you a card or to add another copy of like another pendulum. But then it's like, you think, oh, that's a bad thing. Not really, because all they do is just summon them back, and then they exceed, and then they make King of the Pharaoh Imps or Cyber Infinity. So they have ways of taking those exceeds and turning them into tangible advantage. So you see him searching out Aradne, the counter fairy one. Kind of interesting to see what that is going to do. Flaming Ice needs to take 500 damage because of Wavering Ice. And I think he has 4 cards currently. Looks like he's gonna add to that. When I said 4 cards, I didn't mean in his hand. I meant in his extra deck face up, because he plays that Luster. He's gonna probably pop his other card. Oh, I see one. I see the combo now. So essentially, the way that you trigger that is with Luster. Not only is it gonna replace itself, but I don't believe it can miss timing either. So he'll obviously be able to search a free copy of Solemn Notice. This is so dumb. Oh man, this must have been what Asian Eyes was showing off. Yeah, so you show your opponent, like, I guess, notice, and warning, or notice, and notice. Yeah, and this is why every deck in the OCG runs like 3 Solemn Notices and then like a Solemn Warning. Basically the new Solemn Brigade. I want to see what this card is going to be priced at when it comes out. It depends on the rarity. I have a feeling I have the worst feeling it's going to be a secret rare too. I mean, it's worthy of being an ultra rare, but Konami doesn't generally make the sporadic cards like ultras. Like ultras are almost always left to the core archetypes and the booster sets. Like they don't usually, the secrets and the supers are for like the random shit. You know what I mean? They don't like anytime we get like TCG exclusives, usually they're like secrets, or, you know, they may be like, or not TCG exclusives, because those a lot of times are archetype based. But a lot of times we get OCG imports because they're just like random cards. They'll be like secret rare or super rare, but they don't usually make them ultra. So I believe it's a Vector on board. All right. Looks like we're finally going to see some play. No, he's still not. Well, he did Pendulum Summon. Okay. And he's going to pop his Aradne again. And you know what that means? Another, what's it called? So obviously be able to add another Solemn. As long as he's playing a warning and he didn't draw it, then he should have enough counter traps left in his deck. And again, if this is OCG, they have Solemn Judgment too. So like you can play like 5 Solemns in the OCG. So yeah, he shows him the warning this time, plus the Solemn Notice. Either way, it's terrible. Like, I just don't maybe if you would have had a Maxi or something, but this is like straight up cancer. So he says the 4th trap. Okay, Grand Horn of Heaven. I guess that's another option too. It at least negates a Pendulum Summon. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't even know that. I guess they could run, what's it called? I didn't even know about that. Well, why would he say Heaven? What? Because, I mean, he's revealing these 3, so what does Grand Horn of Heaven have to do with anything here? I thought that this card wasn't, I didn't think it was going to be like an ultra rare or anything like that, but I thought it was going to be, what's it called? Oh, excuse me, it has to be, wait, no, okay, I'm wrong. For some reason I was like, it doesn't have to be with different names. Okay, so gives him Grand Horn of Heaven, whatever. Quite frankly, I think that like Grand Horn of Heaven is a really good, I didn't think it was all that in a bag of chips, but it's really good when you're playing, I guess, not even just, but if you're just like even, like if you get something like what I assume he's going to summon Cyber Dragon Infinity, like if you have a Cyber Dragon Infinity, giving your opponent that card doesn't matter. Like even if you are technically taking a neg, because you know whatever exceed they summon, like it's going to be way more important than that random card that you're going to get, or excuse me, that you're going to give them, because essentially Grand Horn of Heaven stops their entire turn. You know what I mean? If your opponent would Pendulum Summon 2 monsters, just fucking negate them. Like, though they go to the graveyard, they're not coming back. Just give them that card because their turn has essentially been a wash. And this is what you end up with. He doesn't even have a complete scale, but it doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure he has at least one pendulum in his hand that he would be able to complete his scale. But more importantly, he has a Cyber Dragon Infinity, he has a Solemn Notice, and he also has a Grand Horde of Heaven. Have fun trying to summon this. He says Denko GG. I mean, I guess maybe if you have Denko, but he could still negate some of this stuff with Cyber Dragon Infinity. So, I mean, maybe people need to play Denko in the main deck. You know what I mean? And again, I believe Solemn Judgment is legal in the OCG, so you know, it could play Solemn Judgment. You never know. All right, we see a normal summon of wait, nope. I thought he was normal summoning Luster Pendulum. Okay, I guess not. Okay, he meant to put it in his P zone. Fair enough. Ooh, Wavering Eyes is played. Even if Flaming Ice had his own Wavering Eyes to chain, obviously he would probably Cyber Dragon Infinity it. So I think that's probably gonna scare. That's probably gonna be GG. What do you do when you destroy 3 cards? Let's see. You can banish 1 or more cards on the field. Unfortunately, there's nothing really on the field for him to banish, so he does get to do that 500. And then obviously, if you crack a full P skill, then you get to get yourself a pendulum. He decided to get Arch Phoenix Centric. Maybe he wants to blow up some back row or blow up a problem card on the field. Probably back row, but whatever. And Flaming Ice says no mas. He ends up scooping it up. And I mean, when you just look at this match, like, it just seemed like whoever went first just won the duel. And it just seems like there was nothing that the opposing player could do outside of like having, Flying C or Maxi. Like, it's like the only options, or you lose when you have to deal with Cyber Dragon Infinity, plus double Solemn Notice, plus Grand Horn of Heaven, plus a waiver. Oh my god, this is like too cancer, guys. Thank you guys for watching as always.